is up, everybody? Welcome to another Let's Talk. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, and I do apologize for that. I'm going to try to make sure I get back on a better schedule of doing these. But today, I know you guys are looking at the title. Let's talk Ruin King, a League of Legends story. Now, this game came out, I want to say about a month ago. Um, they had a direct for Riot Forge. Nintendo did, and this is one of those games that shadow dropped. It was this one and Hex Tech. I've been looking forward to playing the Ruin King ever since they did the first trailer last year. I am a fan of Airship Syndicate. If you don't know who those guys are, if you played Darksiders 1 and 2 and Darksiders Genesis, those are the guys that used to be at THQ called Team Visual. Those are the guys that actually created the Darksider series. They also have a game out, Battle Chasers Night War. If you are a Battle Chasers comic book fan, you would know that their CEO is Joe Madureira, the artist for Battle Chasers, and one of my favorite comic artists ever, honestly. But this game actually takes a look at characters from League of Legends, and I'm going to be honest, I don't play League of Legends, so there's very little that I actually know about the actual game series itself. But I did find this very intriguing that they allowed various studios, indie style studios, to create games because this isn't the only one. This one in Hex Tech isn't the only one. They have another one. They have a fighting game coming out. They have one for Echo coming out. If you guys have watched Arcane on Netflix, you guys know you guys know who Echo would be if you've watched that series. So they have a lot of games coming down the pipeline, especially in 2022, with using their champions, as it were. But I want to talk about this game, the good, the bad, and my overall thoughts. The good, first thing, there's a lot of familiarity with this game via the art style. Because I've played Darksiders Genesis and Battle Chasers Night War, I'm used to the way the art style is in this game. It's they do um a lot of still picks with audio over the top, and the cutscenes are not they're not drawn by Metal Area, but they're drawn by somebody else. I don't know who it is, so forgive me for not knowing that. But I like the way it flows. I'll say that. I like the way it flows. The art, the environments, everything in the game is of high quality, and I like that. The music is amazing in this game. It's very well done. I love good music in a RPG or an action adventure game, and I think the guy's name is Gareth Conter. I think is his name that does the music for this series. He actually does a lot of their music. Um, to be fair, he does a good amount of their music, um, and he does a very good job. I like his work. I'll put it like that. I enjoy his work. So he's one of those guys that I like. The combat. If this is a turn based RPG, but unlike the Battle Chasers engine, this is like an evolution of that Battle Chasers combat style. I love the way this combat works in game. Once again, it is turn based, but they have boons and different uh, game mechanics that actually help the flow of the combat. So it doesn't take long to do a particular fight. Some of the issues with turn-based systems is sometimes it can feel like the battles can be drawn out. I know certain games, like let's say, for example, Monster Hunter Stories 2. Sometimes, depending on what monster you're fighting, those fights can get a little long. The fights in this game, they don't feel long. They feel very action packed and intense, and they do a good job with the combat system. I think that helps it out a lot. Story wise, I enjoyed the story very much. It's you get to play with each of the characters, and what I mean by that is they do a good job of making where like you're going to have to at some point use everyone. So it's not like some RPGs you can like there's certain characters that you don't really use all that much. In this game, it's 6 champions. You're gonna have to use all of them, even if you don't like a certain character. Me personally, I love the characters in this game. I think they're all well done. So I think the character I'll use the least is probably Pike on my first run. And there are a couple of dungeons in there where you have to use them. There are dungeons where you have to use Braum. There are dungeons where you have to use Ari. There's dungeons where you have to use Yasuo. There's dungeons where you have to use Alawi and Sarah Fortune. That it's gonna require you to do it because there's certain things that you can't do or can't progress if you don't use that character. And I actually enjoy that. This isn't a long RPG either, by the way. This isn't like those 100 plus hour RPGs. This is an old school, like 40 to 60 hour RPG. And I, for one, am thankful for that. As an adult with a full time job, it's sometimes it's a little hard if you're an RPG fan and everybody wants their RPGs to be 100 plus hours. So it takes a while to do that for those type of games. But some of the things that I did not like. One is the questionable design choices, and what I mean by that is with the map. Um, you have sub quests and you have main quests in the game, like a typical RPG, but sometimes it's hard to track them because of how they have the map done. And there are points where you're trying to track a certain sub quest, you're trying to track a certain thing, and it's no different than what the main quest objective marker looks like. I don't really. I think I think it would have came out better if they would have actually had like a different color for the sub quest, so you'll know what you're tracking. That's one of the things I didn't like. Not being able to swap characters on the fly, especially in the later dungeons. The only way you can swap a character is at what they call a rest point. So once you get to a rest point, which looks like a little torch, that's where you're allowed to swap your characters out. I kind of wish there would have been a way to swap out your characters like on the fly. And the reason for that is because in some of the later dungeons, there are going to be times where you're going to have to use Alawi because she's able to do a certain thing. You're going to need Braun because he's able to do a certain thing. You're going to use Pike because he's able to do a certain thing, and you have to track back all the way to a rest area just to swap out, and then track back all the way to where you're at. And sometimes you don't have a teleporter there to like get you there quickly. So sometimes you may have to like run all the way back. So that's one of the things I think that they could have. I wish they were able to do something with that and like make it where you're at least able in dungeons to actually change them on the fly as opposed to you know having to track all the way back and around to find a rest area so you can actually swap the character out. Another thing, and this is from a technical standpoint, I did have a couple of crashes, and the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because the crashes that I had to actually go back out the game and go back into it. Anytime I have to do that, I usually bring that up. It only happened twice to me, and it was a weird one where you know it. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden everything just froze, and I had to kick back out. And one of them where uh, beat the boss of the dungeon, did the cutscene, and it just wouldn't move. So I don't know if anybody else has had that issue, but I did. Overall, though, I enjoyed this game a lot. The combat, the music, the story, the art style—they're all very well done, in my opinion. Uh, I do like the fact that Riot Forge is expanding into the other genres, just to bring new fans into their world. This is one of the things that me and Andre, the game I dig, I've been talking about on the Winging It podcast is how do you expand out lore in certain titles? And I think like other companies could actually benefit from this. Like, we have certain games that are like once a generation games. And what I mean by that is like stuff like Legend of Zelda, for instance. Legend of Zelda has a deep lore. So, and they usually only have one mainline game a console generation. So, for me, I think one of the things that would keep people engaged is let one of these indie companies make a game off one of the side stories from the series, and that way you can keep that way the main line game can still be getting worked on, and people can still have uh, their Legend of Zelda fix, as it were, their Legend of Zelda game. Um, they'll have a game in the pipeline ready for them while they're waiting on the mainline game. Stuff like that, like Halo, for instance. Do a game uh, where you where you can play as Spartan Locke or some of the other characters. So that's all I would say about that. As far as uh, other games and series, I like how they're doing that um, for Riot Forge, and I hope this game is successful, so other companies will do that as well. But uh, that's all I wanted to say about this particular game. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys liked about Ruin King, or if have you played it all, or is it on your list to play? As always, thank you for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to check out the Wingin podcast on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'll catch you guys on our next vid. Peace out, peeps.
Memories. They will always be with you, yours to cherish. But they are less important than the future standing before you. Go and fight for the world.
Thank you.